Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming to this Suns Geek press conference. And I want to start off this press conference by saying to you, and I quote, I promise you, we will win championships. You heard it here first on Suns Geek. Actually, you heard it earlier when Mat Ishbia said, and I quote, I promise you, we will win championships. What is up, you guys? How's everybody's night going? Happy Thursday to you guys. Happy holiday weekend for all of you who celebrate. We are here to talk about the Phoenix Suns end of the season press conference, which was Phoenix Suns owner Mat Ishbia and CEO Josh Bartlestein also spoke, and James Jones, the general manager, was there as well, speaking and answering questions. Mainly Mat Ishbia, but James Jones and Josh Bartlestein got to say their piece, if you will. And there have been some things that I might have missed here and there because I did have to go to work, and then I went out to a very nice family dinner with my family. It was a great time. So if I miss some stuff, I promise I'll get it. I mean, it's April 17th, you guys. We have all off season long for me to, miss something and then talk about it at a later date. But there's a lot of like quotes in here and a lot of things that I really want to just talk to you guys about. And I do want to acknowledge that some other Suns podcasts and channels have already talked about this. So shout out to them. They have a lot more time than I do to do this stuff. But I'm thankful that you guys are here. So thank you guys for allowing me to talk about the Phoenix Suns and to talk about what Mat Ishbia and Josh Bartlestein and James Jones said. So thank you guys for allowing me to do that. Thank you guys for just allowing me to have this channel, because without you guys, this channel is nothing. So appreciate and I love you guys. Before we get started, though, it's been a good night. It's been a good day. And I figure, you know what? Let's crack open a good old beer. I bought this Four Peaks stuff, Hop Knot IPA. And it's from Tempe, Arizona, from the Four Peaks Brewing Company. Might as well celebrate the Phoenix Suns end of the season, So we're going to crack this bad boy open. Let me know what you're drinking in the chat. Please let me know what you're eating or drinking. And cheers. Oh, delicious. I don't know if you guys go to like Fry's or whatever much, but like they have this like value pack of I'll show you guys right here, a value pack of the Four Peaks Brewing Company. It just comes with all these different random beers. I think I got it for like 15 or 16 bucks. It's delicious. It's local beer. So yeah, cheers. Okay. Let's get started. And I really just want to start with this. I understand the frustration. I understand the anger. I understand the disappointment. I understand all of that. But I want you guys to remember something. And don't just take this from me. Go and listen to the press conference. And if you don't want to listen to all that, at least just listen for like a little bit, because I want to start off this podcast, this live show, with letting you guys know that Mat Ishbia, the CEO, Mat Ishbia, the owner, Josh Bartlestein, the CEO, and James Jones, they are all fully aware and are they acknowledge the fact that this season was a failure. And as Mat Ishbia put it at one point, an embarrassment of a season. I think even Josh Bartlestein said that. So I understand a lot of fans, especially the social media trolls and the keyboard warriors. I understand right now that they are attacking Mat Ishbia. They're pissed off at Josh Bartlestein. They're mad at James Jones. Heck, I've made some comments about James Jones. I understand, but I want you guys to know that they are all very aware that this season was a failure. And if it means even just the smallest little thing to Suns fans, changes are coming. Massive changes. I've been saying that for like a month now, maybe longer. Go back and listen to some of my shows and videos. I have been talking about massive changes are coming. And that's, guys, like Mat Ishbia has said it so many times. John Gamadoro from Arizona Sports has talked about it many times. I've talked about it many times. And I don't know who's going to be our GM. I don't know if Josh Bartelstein is going to keep his job, but massive changes are coming, and we're going to dive all into it. Usually what I would do, and I kind of wanted to do it earlier, was I would just go and find the the press conference, but it was sort of a weird day today, and I just didn't really have the time because I had to like get ready for work and then go to work and then went out to the family dinner and all that. And like I would rather just take quotes, I think, for now on and just kind of read you guys some certain quotes and give my thoughts instead of like pausing the show, you know what I mean? And you guys know, right? I'll drink to that. Whatever. Cheers. So let's start off with sort of the running theme, the trend, the sort of overall message. If you guys don't want to listen to the press conference, this is sort of what I'm taking away from it is, again, ownership, front office, the players, the coaches, et cetera, they're all very aware that this season was a failure. But not just that. They know that this Phoenix Suns team was not fun to watch. I'm one of the biggest Phoenix Suns fans ever, and even I had trouble watching this team. Shout out to my guy Thunderstash Gaming, who's killing it on YouTube right now. Check out his YouTube channel. He's one of the biggest Suns fans I've ever met, and even he said he had a hard time watching the Suns this year. Changes are coming. Quote from Mat Ishbia: "We will make changes." It was even on that little graphic or whatever, the tweet that came out right when the Suns were eliminated. Blah 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 blah. Changes are coming. Mat Ishbia talked a lot about having to, quote, "I have to do a better job of setting the identity of the Phoenix Suns." I don't know who our next head coach is going to be. I don't know who's going to be on our roster next year. And spoiler alert to all the people in my comment section and all to the Twitter GMs out there, Devin Booker's not going anywhere. Devin Booker is staying with the Phoenix Suns next season and for the foreseeable future. You heard it here first on Suns Geek. So I don't know who's going to be playing on this team. I don't know who's going to be coaching this team. I don't know who the GM will be, but there will be a new identity for the Phoenix Suns next year. And it really does seem like it will be a more scrappy defensive team that will get us excited again. There was only a couple of times this season, no, maybe not a couple, maybe like 10 times this season where I actually like clapped out loud or cheered. You know what I mean? But I remember like back in the day, like jumping out of my seat and like getting excited. Like this Phoenix Suns team didn't have that this year. Maybe during a couple stretch runs they did, or like close comeback games they did. But Mat Ishbia talked about it. James Jones talked about it. Josh Bartelstein talked about it. This team just was not fun to watch. This team most nights just did not compete. I was live with the Suns Jam Session podcast like, 2 or 3 nights ago? And I said, how many games did we see where we got blown out by like double digits or more? It was embarrassing. So Mat Ishbia is going to set the tone for the Phoenix Suns identity. And he said if they are looking into a player or looking into a coach or, quote, scouting, if they're like kind of scouting or like, hey, maybe we should like trade for this player or maybe we should like sign this player. If that player is not going to be bought into the identity of this new Phoenix Suns team, then they cannot play for the Phoenix Suns. And quick side note, I know I'm going off track here. I love that because if you've ever had a job before, like you want to find people who like fit the identity of your job or like the culture of your job. You want like hard workers and people with heart and all that good stuff, like enthusiasm. But from what it seems like the Suns are going to do this offseason is they're going to find guys that are scrappy, defensive-minded players, guys that are just like all heart, they got that dog in them, stuff like that. Kind of seems like that's the direction. Remember, you guys, I want you to remember this for the people that are watching in the future. I'm recording this on April 17th at 9:23 p.m. So I'm just reacting in due time. So, Saul, I see your question about the Suns' identity. And normally I would save it for later, but I'm just going to answer it right now. The Phoenix Suns didn't have an identity this season. They really didn't. Maybe Kevin Durant would disagree with that if he was on this podcast right now, which, by the way, tweet Kevin Durant. Maybe he'll come on my podcast one day. He's never going to come on my podcast. But anyways, what is the Suns' identity? Legit question. If you would have been at that press conference today and asked Mat Ishbia and James Jones and Josh Bartelstein, they probably would have answered the same way that I'm talking. We didn't have an identity this year. Go look at some past games. There was no identity. There was no heart. There was no fight in this team. And even though some of us, including myself, are attached to some of these players, do not be surprised if we have like a whole new roster next year besides Devin Booker. Like, sure, maybe we'll keep some guys here and there, like on the margins or whatever, but don't be surprised if it's a completely revamped new roster. And we're going to talk about this more later, and it's not really a surprise at this point. I've been talking about it for a while. I know John Gambadoro from Arizona Sports has been talking about it for a while and today on Twitter, but don't be surprised if there's a revamped front office. I got to take another sip of my drink. Let me know what you guys are drinking in the chat. I promise I'll try my best to get caught up. Big shout out to my guy, Backcourt Highlights. He says, damn, can always count on Geek to make me more optimistic regarding the Suns. Changes are coming. Let's go. I'll drink to that. Cheers. Okay. Appreciate you guys all watching, whether you're watching along live or later. I appreciate you guys. Let's start with another big quote here. And I love the way that Mat Ishbia said this, man. Because, again, I know Mat Ishbia right now is taking a lot of heat. He's taking a lot of slander. There's been criticism of him from the media and that clown Stephen A. Smith. Don't listen to what Stephen A. Smith says, you guys. That guy's just a clown. But anyways, obviously on Twitter, national media, local media has been taking a lot of heat. So is Josh Bartelstein and James Jones. But I love this quote from Mat Ishbia right here. I want to put a team out there that everyone is proud of. And he was acknowledging, he's talking about not just the fans. I mean, the fans are a big part of it. Us Suns fans, you listening right now, myself, all of us who are Phoenix Suns fans, there should be a team on the court that fans are proud of, that we are excited about. But he was talking about the media, even the players themselves, the front office. There should be a team on the court that we are all excited about, that everyone is proud of. We didn't really have that this year. Maybe earlier in the season we did. You guys can go back and look at some of my past live shows. I was so excited for this team. And I was trying to stay optimistic as I could and positive as I could. But as the year went on, I was just like, dude, I'm over it. This team just ain't it. Excuse me. And I know I sound like a broken record here, especially if you guys listen to every show, but I'm glad I recognized it early. Because I remember last season, it took me till late April, probably about late April or April-ish, that I realized we weren't winning anything after all those high expectations. Just like this year, we had high expectations. In my opinion, we had a very good offseason. On paper, we did. Clearly, we didn't. It's all in the past. Doesn't matter. Mat Ishbia is going to put together a team that everyone can be proud of. Let's hope, fingers crossed. I'm praying that Mat Ishbia and company can put together a team that everybody is proud of. Mat Ishbia said, kind of talking about what we've been talking about for the last 17 minutes, change is coming. quote, "You will know the difference." He's talking about competing out there, especially on the floor, the identity of the Phoenix Suns, et cetera, et cetera. And I sort of talked about, well, actually, no, I guess I didn't talk about this. I do love how Mat Ishbia, because he said this a few times in his press conference, and I think he even talked about it on Burns and Gambo earlier, but he gave credit to the Phoenix Suns fans. Quote, "Credit to the fans for sticking by us." He knows, and I've even talked about this with you guys. He knows, and I know, that there were times you guys were not watching. And I don't think Mat Ishbia can blame you guys for that. He even said, quote, "I get it. There were times they weren't watching." And if you've listened to my past videos and live shows, you guys, like last season, like 2023-24, last season, the season before that, a couple years ago, I would have blamed you guys. I would have said, "Why aren't you guys watching the Phoenix Suns? You should be ashamed of yourselves." Yada, yada, yada. But this season, this was the first season where I was like, I do not blame you for not watching the Phoenix Suns. This was the first season where I was like, go and live your life. Go get dinner with your family like I did. Go hang out with that friend. Go do something more productive than watch the Phoenix Suns. I thought I would never, ever say that in my whole fandom as a Phoenix Suns fan. But this was the season that kind of broke that. Yeah, my guy Red Arrow says, "What's up, man? Pretty interesting press conference." It was. It was a lot better than like the trade deadline press conference that like James Jones had, or like the press conference from last season. Remember when Mat Ishbia said that whole thing like, "Oh, all the other 29 teams would love to be the Phoenix Suns right now." This one felt like a lot more like genuine, like, "Hey, we get it. It was an embarrassing season. It was a failure. We're going to make changes, yada, yada, yada." And by the way, saw a couple good tweets about, actions speak louder than words, which I will get to later on. But there's a lot more to talk about here. And just real quick, because we're almost 20 minutes in, if there's something I missed, guys, it's April 17th. We have all off season long for me to be like, "Oh yeah, like, hey, James Jones said this, or Mat Ishbia said this. Let me talk about it real quick." I'm not going to get to everything. You're just kind of getting the whole message of the press conference. So let's keep moving on. Let me take a sip of my beer. What are you guys drinking in the chat? Let me know. By the way, if you're just tuning in, I got a Hop Knot IPA from Four Peaks. Ever since I moved back to the Valley, you guys, I've been trying to stick to like local beer, local food. Like we went to a great local Mexican restaurant tonight. It was delicious, great food, great service, great drinks. It was awesome. Okay. Mat Ishbia was so, I don't know if like relatable is the word, but when he was talking about like credit to the fans for sticking with us, I get it. There were times you guys weren't watching. He even said, the front office knows how bad of a season this was. He even said the players know it, coaches. He even said security guards knew how bad this season was. And I feel like I talked about that like a couple, like maybe a week or so ago, or one of my recent live shows. I was like, everybody in the front office, everybody in the organization knows how bad this season was, you guys. Saul says moon juice. Moo juice? Did you mean moon juice? Moon juice with cookies. Oh my gosh. And Michael says it perfectly here, you guys. It was a stinker of a year, but I still love my Suns. Amen, man. I will always love the Suns no matter what. It was a tough year, you guys. Okay. Let's see. Something to look out for, you guys. And I feel like I'm going to sound like a broken record saying this all off season long. And look, everybody has their opinions. That's fine. Your opinion is just as good as mine, yada, yada, yada. Mat Ishbia said something that I'm going to kind of remember going forward. And he pretty much was talking about, finding players, and not just players, finding people like coaches, et cetera, with what they want in the Phoenix Suns identity. Quote, we don't take the most talented players because they don't align with what we do. So I think going forward, maybe a certain talented player is available, but that doesn't necessarily mean the Phoenix Suns are going to go get him. And in all fairness, I kind of feel like he's done that the last couple of years. Like, you guys know how like Suns Twitter works and all that. People are like, we should go get this guy. We should go get this guy. And like, I've always been one that like takes a step back and I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, what if like that's not like what James Jones and Mat Ishbia and all of them are looking for? Like, I've always been that kind of content creator and even just a fan. Even if I didn't have this channel, I'd be like, okay, well, yeah, he might be good, but like, is that what the Suns are looking for? You know what I mean? So just remember that going forward, like a certain player might be available, but we might be looking at a completely different player. I know this may not be the best example, but take Oso Ighodaro, for example. Fell late into the second round. Suns make a few trades, and voila, we got Oso Ighodaro. So, you know, just wanted to talk about that. And I know this is like kind of all over the place, but whatever. To anybody who, and I'll even pull this up so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about here. To anybody who thinks that Devin Booker is going to get traded, first off, I've been denying every single Devin Booker trade rumor for years now. You know, back when like a lot of people thought he was going to go to New York and all this stuff. Shout out to Shane Young for this tweet right here. I don't know if you guys can like see the quote. Let me kind of fix this too, because this looks kind of weird. Hold on, guys. Technical difficulties. Let's see. Actually, that looks fine. Sort of. Not really. Whatever. Anyways, you know, Mat Ishbia was talked about. I forgot what the question was. I'd have to like go back and listen to it, but pretty much he was talking about Devin Booker. And this is a quick quote, not the full quote, just a paraphrasing quote of what Mat Ishbia said. Mat Ishbia on Devin Booker, quote, we're very aligned on what we're going to do. His mission and my mission are very similar. Let's bring a championship to Phoenix. It's a lot of talk until you go out and do it, close quote. Now, with that last part, it's a lot of talk until you go out and do it. More thoughts and tweets on that later. But Mat Ishbia's talked about it before. He's going to talk about it again in the future. And you're going to hear it first on Suns Geek. You're going to hear me say it all off season long. Devin Booker is not going to get traded. Let me whisper it in case you didn't hear it. Devin Booker's not going to get traded. We're not trading Devin Booker, you guys. I don't care if all you Twitter GMs are like, oh, well, they can get this for Devin Booker. Blah, blah, blah. We're not trading Devin Booker. Devin Booker does not want to be traded. If Devin Booker, I mean, Devin Booker probably has no clue who the hell I am, but if Devin Booker was ever on this podcast and I somehow got him on this podcast and asked him, do you want to be traded? Do you want to leave Phoenix? Blah, blah. He would say the complete opposite. Devin Booker loves the Valley. He's not going anywhere, you guys. Get over it. Move on with your lives. It's not happening. Anyways. Let's see here. Okay. Really important topic right here that we need to talk about. And trust me, this is not going to be the last time I will say this. So if you miss it, it's okay. I'll talk about it on more live shows in the future. To all the people that are like, Mat Ishbia ruined this team, and Mat Ishbia is the one in charge, and Mat Ishbia, you know, is making all of the decisions. He's overriding James Jones and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying you're like 100% wrong, but I'm not saying you're 100% right, but I'm not saying you're 100% wrong either. It's sort of a little bit of a mixed bag because there has been legit reporting on, from what I acknowledge, is one trade, which was the Kevin Durant one, where Mat Ishbia was in full control. But Mat Ishbia said some things that I think are interesting. I feel like this whole thing could be its own podcast. But like they were asking him if he can clarify on his role in the decision making. And Mat Ishbia, I think, gave a great answer. I don't know if he was being truthful, but he talked about how they have a he talked about how they have a collaborative group. And I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. So let me just pull up this tweet real quick. But he talked about like he even mentioned Ryan Dunn by name. He's like, I didn't go watch film on Ryan Dunn. I didn't interview Ryan Dunn. He pretty much said from how I'm gathering it, like in terms of the draft with Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro, he was there in the room and was like, yeah, let's do it. How do we get these guys? But it wasn't like he was out there scouting or watching film and doing X, Y, and Z. So from what I'm taking away from it is, sure, there might be a few moves here and there where he had the final say and was like, I want this guy. Doesn't matter what you guys want. But I really do not believe that he is fully in control here. I don't think I've ever believed that. But people are going to blame Mat Ishbia and go off on Twitter and say Mat Ishbia ruined this team, which I have some thoughts on that, but maybe I'll save it for a different podcast. I think a lot of people are just bitter about the Valley team, the finals team, but I'll talk about that in another podcast. But like it's a collaborative group. And even Josh Bartelstein, James Jones, I think even kind of had trouble answering it. Let me just share my screen real quick. Because again, I don't know if I fully believe this. I don't know if I'll ever fully believe it. Maybe I'm wrong. Shout out to Gerald Bourget from PHNX for this tweet right here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Okay, let me zoom in real quick. My bad, you guys. One-man show here. Let's see. That looks weird. Let's try that. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. There we go. So Gerald Bourget says, Josh Bartelstein said one of the biggest misconceptions is that Mat Ishbia is making personnel decisions, said he has not made one trade or signing, while complimenting him for how involved he is in the process. So like, I don't know, you guys. Like, I don't think Mat Ishbia is like in every single meeting and is in every single, like, do they call it like the war room in football? Is that what they call it? I don't think he's like in the war room as much as we think. Sure, there's probably some decisions that he probably has to be involved in, but like, I really do think this was like James Jones, Josh Bartelstein, the assistant GMs, the scouts. And if it isn't obvious by now, you guys, clearly this season was a failure. We thought we had a great roster on paper, but it completely backfired. Clearly, we thought Mike Budenholzer was the right coach for us, and he was not. Just like we thought Frank Vogel was the right coach for us, and maybe we should have not have let him go, but I don't know. And guys, like Mat Ishbia, James Jones, and Josh Bartelstein all did a great job of taking blame, taking accountability. And I will do that too. I've been doing it sort of on Twitter, and I've done it sort of, I think, in recent live shows too, but like, I'll do it again. I'll do it all off season long. I've been wrong about things too. Like, I was wrong about the Mike Budenholzer coaching in general. I was wrong about even saying Mike Budenholzer should have been given one more chance. I've been wrong about a lot of things, and I'll continue to be wrong about things, you guys. You're going to be wrong about things just like I will be. It happens. But I will give credit to the Suns brass, if that's what you want to call them, the top dogs, that they actually, for the most part, they didn't really like avoid most topics. They actually took accountability, took responsibility, and said, we messed up. It was a disappointing season. We will be better. We will change. We'll have the Suns' identity, blah, blah, blah. So, I'm going to be wrong about things in the future. So will you. It's just part of life. That's what sports is. We all have our own opinions. It is what it is. Anyways, one thing I think is interesting going forward. Another thing to remember. Let me take a sip of my beer. Mat Ishbia said this. I don't have the exact quote, but I do have a thing here. Mat Ishbia explains his stance on spending, that it will not be an obstacle for him, before saying, quote, we do not expect to have the most expensive roster next year. So remember that, Suns fans. If you're having like a casual conversation with another fan or something, according to Mat Ishbia, as of April 17th, he does not expect the Suns to have the most expensive roster next year. And I think that that's the right move. How do I say this? Maybe at first it seemed cool, like, oh my God, Mat Ishbia has all this money he's going to spend, and we're going to get all these great players, and we're going to win. Clearly, the last 2 years we have not won. I mean, we have 0 playoff games to our name, since we traded for the big 3 and all that. Even though we won a couple playoff games with KD, I think some Suns fans forget that. But with Bradley Beal and KD, we have 0 playoff wins. But anyways, so I think Mat Ishbia is very aware that spending is not going to win you a championship. You have to find defensive-minded players and scrappy players and guys with heart and identity, and you have to have money to spend and make better trades. I think he finally knows that now. And hopefully James Jones, hopefully Josh Bartlestein, or whoever's going to be running our front office next year knows that. Okay. There's probably 50 quotes I missed. But saying this for the 3rd time now, we have all off season to talk about it. I want to talk about the Suns coaching search. There's been a lot of rumors floating around. Oh yeah, and real quick, I listened to, before we talk about the Suns coaching search, I listened to most of what James Jones and Josh Bartlestein said. I didn't listen to the full thing because, like I said, I was kind of busy. I had to go to work and stuff. It was a long day, all that stuff. But I'll get to it at some point. But they were pretty much saying the same things, like, hey, we messed up. We take full responsibility. I think at one point they were even asked about their futures. And I think they both said, we're comfortable in our jobs and blah, blah. I don't know. James Jones could get fired tomorrow. Who knows? James Jones could get fired a month from now. Who knows? I don't know. But I think it's very aware now that the media is actually asking them, hey, are you comfortable in your role? Do you know that they don't word it like this because they're much smarter than that, but they pretty much are saying, hey, do you know that you're on the hot seat? That's pretty much what they've been saying. I really hope that James Jones and Josh Bartlestein both know that they are both on the hot seat. And again, I know I said this on the Suns Jam Session podcast the other night, which was co-streamed on both channels, by the way. I know that Suns Twitter and the Suns community rarely agrees on everything, but is it safe to say, let's say we keep James Jones for one more season. Let's say we don't win a championship. We lose in the first round or something. Is it safe to say that James Jones is gone? Can we all agree on that? Can we all agree on something? You know what I mean? I mean, again, I will kind of be surprised if James Jones doesn't get fired. If we somehow keep him and Josh Bartlestein, their seat, they're not even on the hot seat. Their seat's burning on fire. You know what I mean? I would be nervous as hell if I was Josh Bartlestein and James Jones right now. So just wanted to talk about that. But there's a few more things that I want to talk about because, again, like I'm reading my notes here, they didn't really get we didn't really get like a clear answer. Even when Mat Ishbia was asked about that, about James Jones and Josh Bartlestein, how many times have I said their names in this podcast? They didn't really get a clear answer, a good worded answer. But as I've said so many times, you guys, and I'm going to continue to say it, changes are coming. Many changes are coming to the Phoenix Suns, you guys. Get ready. Turn on your notifications. And don't just take that from me, you guys. Let me pull up a tweet here. And I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. Gambo's been tweeting a lot today. And I think it's worth paying attention to. Now there's a few tweets we're going to get to here, excuse me. But I do just want to kind of let you guys know. Yeah, right here. This is it right here. So let me just share my screen real quick, you guys. My bad. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. Here we go. So Gerald Bourguet from PHNX tweets out what we were talking about during the press conference. And Gambo quote tweets him and says, and I quote, this is Gambo from Arizona Sports tweeting. And I'm sure he's talked about it on his show and all that stuff. But he says, definitely what we told you from day one. Change is coming. Expect change. Front office revamp. That was a quote tweet from Gerald Bourguet, who asked Mat Ishbia whether the incoming changes extend to James Jones and Josh Bartlestein. Mat Ishbia would not get into the specifics of their roles, saying he's more focused on setting the Suns' identity as an owner, but added that, quote, change is coming. And then John Gambadoro from Arizona Sports tweeted out, definitely what we told you from day one. Change is coming. Expect a lot of change. Front office revamp. Gambo knows these things, you guys. He is plugged in. He knows what he's talking about. If he's been saying it, even though Mat Ishbia didn't really say it, but he kind of said it. I mean, I have no sources. I have no information, but I've been saying it. Changes are coming. So don't be shocked if James Jones, I mean, I don't want the guy to, I don't want anybody to lose their job, but don't be surprised if he loses his job. It's just the way it is in sports. I was arguing with somebody on that over Instagram of all places, because she was like arguing with me about Mike Budenholzer. I was like, in sports, coaches and GMs always go first. I'm not a big football guy. I know a lot of you guys are. But I know for a fact coaches and GMs always go first in football. I don't know if that's how it is in hockey and baseball and all that, but from basketball, I mean, Monty McNair from the Kings just got let go yesterday or today? Guys, speaking of that, by the way, it is going to be such a long off season. And look, I know there's a lot of pessimistic, negative Suns fans right now. And I hate to sound like it could be a lot worse guy, but I am going to say that right now. Guys, it could be a lot worse. Look at the Sacramento Kings, dude. Look at the Dallas Mavericks, even though they're in the play-in tournament right now. Shout out to them, credit to them, but it could be a lot worse, you guys. There's so many teams that, I would not want to be on that team or a part of that team or a fan of that team. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm a little too optimistic, but it's true. So speaking of Gambo, you guys, I'm really glad that he gave us this information and he tweeted this stuff out. A lot of conversations that we're going to have this off season are going to be about, excuse me, my bad. Keep burping. A lot of conversations we're going to have this off season about the Suns coaching search. Oops, what's going on here? Hold on, we got to go back. And John Gambo had 2 tweets that I think are worth reading here. Like, yes, there's a lot of names floating around. I can't credit all the reporters, but there are some reporters who I trust that have reported names out, local and national media, not just the local guys. Like, I follow the national guys too. There have been a lot of names floating around. And at the end of the day, it's probably going to be the same names that we're going to talk about later on. But Gambo had these tweets here that I think are interesting. Somebody tweeted Gambo and said, "Thoughts, Gambo? I think Chris Quinn will be an excellent hire." And I want to start with this tweet right here. Gambo says, oops, where did I go on the thing? Gambo says, "No list has been talked about." So first off, if Gambo is correct, which he usually is, there is no coaching list, which I do want to start off with that. That actually makes a lot of sense. You guys, Mike Budenholzer was fired like what, 3-4 days ago? You think within those last 3 or 4 days, they were like, here's a whole list of coaches. Let's start interviewing. It's not impossible, but it's very unlikely. And I have more thoughts on that in a minute. So Gambo says, no list has been talked about. They have not met on it yet, so there is no list. Some of these names may be good, but not all. Like, guys, like, you have to think in a 3 to 4 day span, it's extremely unlikely that they would be able to get all these coaches like called in for interviews and all that stuff. And it's extremely unlikely. And not even just that, the fact that Ishbia, Bartlestein, James Jones, the other GMs and all that were all in a room. And they're like, here's a list of coaches. Who should we go get? Let's talk about this guy. Blah, blah. Guys, you know how much time that takes? And the reason I say all that is, one, because of this tweet, but two, how many times have I said this, you guys? It is April 17th. We just fired Mike Budenholzer a few days ago. We just got eliminated from the playoffs like a week or so ago. This is going to take some time. Yes, there's going to be a lot of names that are going to pop up. There's probably a lot of great, not probably, there is a lot of great coaches who deserve the job. But if you think Mat Ishbia is going to rush into this coaching hire after the season we just had, I think that's extremely unlikely. And as Mat Ishbia talked about, the next coach they hire, they have to get it right. They absolutely 110% have to get it right. And we're going to talk about that later, but like, I don't know what this coach looks like. I don't know who he is. Is it a former player? Is it a younger guy? Is it a championship experience coach? I don't know. But it's got to be the right hire. So Gambo continues. There is no list of head coaching candidates yet, keyword, yet, for the Suns. They have not met on it, which means they are going to take their time with this, you guys. So anything you are hearing is speculation, and some of those names may be good, but as of today, they do not have a list, so those names on the list are not true. And he's right. Again, down the road, we might hear those names, but right now, do you think Mat Ishbia has a list in his pocket and he's like, oh yeah, we're going to go get Chris Quinn and I don't know, Royal Ivy and all these other guys and Mike Brown and blah, blah, blah. He doesn't have that, you guys. He literally just did his end of the season press conference today. But I will say this, though, Suns fans. I think he said this on Burns and Gambo. And some Suns fans might disagree with this here, but I believe it to be true. The offseason starts today. It started yesterday. It started when they fired Mike Budenholzer. That coaching search begins today. The search for the Suns' new identity starts today. The road to what I hope and pray will be a Phoenix Suns championship starts today. Not just a championship, championships. Because I want to quote Mat Ishbia here, and you're going to hear me say it all off season long until I'm blue in the face, till my record is broken. I promise you, we will win championships. Mat Ishbia. Hell yeah, Mat Ishbia. We're going to win championships. I believe that. I'm Suns geek. I'm a huge Suns fan. I want the Phoenix Suns to win championships. And if you're listening to this live show, unless you're just like a hater or a troll, I hope that you wish for the same things. For the Suns to win championships. I will drink to that. Amen. Suns are going to win a championship. Championships with an S. Amen. Okay, guys. Couple things before we get out of here. Let me just pull this up real quick. Because we've been doing a lot of... Let me just make sure. What is this one? Okay. Let me just recap real quick. I kind of said this already, but we're going to recap. If you missed the press conference, it was Mat Ishbia, James Jones, Josh Bartelstein talking about setting an identity for the Phoenix Suns team, players, coaches, staff, etc. The Suns having that identity, these future players, these future coaches, these future front office people, if they fit that identity of the Phoenix Suns, they can be employed by the Phoenix Suns. But what is that identity? It's going to be tough, physical, hard-nosed, and a team that they can be proud of. And I'm reading this off of Gambo's tweet, but it's pretty much what we've been talking about all show. Is what Mat Ishbia talked about. A tough, physical, hard-nosed team that fans can be proud of. And as Gambo said, and I quote, not a team that people can define as all talent, no heart. Because doesn't that kind of seem like what we had this year? All talent and no heart. Guys, like, I love Bol. Like, I love Grayson Allen. But, like, I think, like, I'm okay if they, like, if we move on from them. Like, I love Kevin Durant. I kind of want him to stay one more year, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll talk about that later. That's another show for another conversation. But, like, if you don't have heart, if you don't have grit and defensive talent and all that stuff, you can't play for the Phoenix Suns, you guys. Okay. So, obviously, we've been talking a lot. And I'm sure there's like 10, 20 tweets I missed from all these guys that I'm about to read, because I'm about to read from other people in the Suns community. Ooh, maybe that'll be a new segment here. Maybe I'll create a drop, because, you know, I have all off season long to create all these great drops and make new segments and make new parts of the show. But maybe we'll come up with like a segment where it's like, what's the Suns community saying? Or like, what's this person saying? Because I actually agree with a lot of the things we're about to read. Shout out to my guy, Legends Productions. Go check him out on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Makes great NBA content. Says, what's good, bro? Hope you're doing well. I am great, my man. Life is so good, you guys. I'm employed. I'm living back in Phoenix, Arizona. I have a great YouTube channel because of all you guys. Life is so good, you guys. I love you guys. Anyways. So, yeah, check out my guy, Legends Productions. So, shout out to my guy, Espo from PHNX. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who he is. Had a great tweet earlier. And the next tweet that we're going to read is kind of, I feel like I can kind of tie these tweets in together. There's been a lot of talk today. I've been sitting up here for 51 minutes talking and preaching. But sort of like, not sort of, but like in life and at your job and with friends and family and all that, actions speak louder than words. So Espo tweets this out. What is the change coming for the Suns? ? That's the unanswered question after today's media session. You can change what you believe in, and he put that in quotations, what you believe in, but if you don't change the process and ways to make decisions, you'll get the same results. I'm enthralled with how it plays out. And I really love that tweet. It's a great tweet. Shout out to Espo. I love the sort of third part where he says, you can change what you believe, but if you don't change the process and ways to make decisions, you'll get the same results. You know, like this is going to be a terrible example, but that's like saying, like, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, but you're like Suns Geek here and you eat a lot of junk food and eat bad and you drink beer and all that stuff. Like, you're not going to see many results, right? That's a terrible example, but you get my point. It's like saying you're going to do something, but you're doing like the complete opposite. You're taking one step forward and you're taking, how many times did I say that on the channel, you guys? The Suns take one step forward, they take 3 steps back. It's like that. You take one step forward in your life, but you're taking 3 steps back. So a tweet that I kind of thought was similar, and big shout out to my guy, John Voida from the Suns Jam Session podcast and Bright Side of the Sun, who, by the way, we hung out this past weekend with Gavin from the Aussie Suns fans, and Fanning the Flames was there, Fanning the Flames podcast. It was just a great weekend. We had a great time. It was awesome. But my guy John here, I just love this tweet. I even told him I'm going to read this tweet on my show. But he says this: there's only so much you can take from these types of press conferences. Words are words. The weight lies in what follows. Let me repeat that last part. The weight lies in what follows. Until real change happens and the end result is actually winning, there's little reason to get overly excited. Now, you guys know me. I'm a little too optimistic. I'm a little too positive. I don't know if I agree with that last part, but everything else in there I agree with. You know, I took a lot away from this press conference, but to some people, they may not have took much away from it. Words are words. What follows is what matters. And the biggest part of his tweet here, until real, that's the key word, real, until real change happens, the end result is actually winning. You know, great tweet by Espo and my guy John Voida. Great tweet. Before we get out of here, I want to read just a couple more. I know these are all over the place, but these are from other people in the Suns community who I really love and trust and respect. And this is kind of pointing out the obvious. This is going to be stuff we're going to be talking about for weeks, if not months. But shout out to Mike Vigil from the Timeline podcast. Great follow on Twitter. But he says, if the Suns hold true on the concept of identity that they talked about today with words like, quote, grit and, quote, grimy, I think we can set some expectations on the kind of coach and players they're targeting. So that's what we've been saying, you guys. If they really do hold true on this is a new Suns team, new Suns identity, we want defensive players with heart and grit and grime and blah, blah. That's the kind of not only players they're going to target, but coaches they're going to target. Last tweet before we get out of here. Then I'll get to some comments and we'll wrap it up. We have all off season, you guys, to do these shows. So I'm going to play the patient game with YouTube. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been saying this to a lot of people. I want to full screen myself to say this to you guys too. If my StreamYard wants to work, I'm still going to stay on top of the latest Phoenix Suns news. I'm going to pump out as much content as I can to you guys. But like at the same time, I'm going to like live my life. You know what I mean? Like it's April, guys. Sure, I can make videos and all these things, but it's like it's April. The Suns are eliminated. We're not even in the play-in tournament. You know what I mean? So please forgive me if I don't, you know what I mean? Anyways, we'll talk about that later. Last tweet, then we're gonna get out of here, you guys. Great follow from Suns Are Better. Great tweet also as well. Great follow, great tweet. Quote from Suns Are Better, and I do agree with him on this. I still believe that the Suns have as good of as an NBA owner as you can get in Mat Ishbia. I agree with that. He is committed to winning and puts his money where his mouth is. Amen to that. He puts faith in and gives the control to his staff and players, despite what the media says. Excuse me. That's the owner you want. Let me repeat that because I read that poorly. I still believe that the Suns have as good of an NBA owner as you can get in Mat Ishbia. Amen to that. He is committed to winning and puts his money where his mouth is. He puts faith in and gives control to his staff and players, despite what the media says. That's the owner you want. Guys, let's humble ourselves for a second. Let's rewind. Let's go back to the past for a little bit. We would have been thirsting. We would have been starving for an owner like Mat Ishbia, 6, 7 years ago, when we were in the lottery and we were losing and watching bad basketball and things were just so bad. And even our arena wasn't even that great. Guys, I went to a Suns game this past weekend, the last game of the last home game of the season. Dude, you can literally spend like an hour just walking around the arena. It's incredible. I'm not saying you couldn't do that before, but it's even better now. So that's a great tweet from Suns Are Better. All right, guys. Again, there's probably a lot of things that I missed. But again, we have all offseason long to talk about those things. We have all offseason long to talk coaching hires, players, and free agency, and the draft, and et cetera, et cetera. Thank you, Saul. This comment means a lot to me. Enjoy life, Brandon. Don't do YouTube just to do YouTube. Do it for yourself. Amen, man. Kind of glad you said that. Let me take a sip real quick. Because this off season, you guys, especially since we have like an extra month, to do more shows, I want to do some more kind of like life and YouTube shows. Like, obviously, it will be all Suns related, but I want to get other content creators on here. And like, yeah, we'll talk about the Suns, but like, I want to talk about like life and their journeys on YouTube and et cetera, right? So there's going to be a lot of content throughout this off season that might just be different, but like, what else do we really have? We can, like, sure, we could talk about the Suns all day long, but like, what are we going to talk about the next day? What are we going to talk about the next day? Like, come on. Like, I might sprinkle some playoffs in there, maybe some NBA finals. We'll see. I'll try my best with the draft stuff. Obviously, coaching and any breaking Suns news. Like I said, you guys, I'm still going to stay on top of the latest Suns news, rumors, and etc. But like, I'm going to go live my life. You know what I mean? Just saying. Kind of give you guys like a peek behind the curtain of what it's like to be a YouTube content creator, because you do have to kind of upload a certain amount each month. But again, you guys, it's April. It's April 17th. We have a long off season, you guys. All right. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it, you guys. I'll just read a few more comments and we'll get out of here. Let's see. Red Arrow says, sounds cool. I appreciate all your support, Red Arrow. Thank you for being here. Eduardo says, got to find that identity again. Exactly, man. They have to. They have to nail the coaching search. They have to nail the Suns' identity. They have to nail the Suns. That sounded wrong. They have to nail finding the right Suns players. They have to get everything right. This has to be one of the best off seasons in Suns history. My guy Legends Production says, yes, sir, bro. Glad to hear it. Sucks that I won't get any Suns content this postseason, but we keep grinding. Keep going, brother. Thank you, man. You keep going as well. Keep up the great work. Let's see. Derek says, Suns stands for see you next season, but still my team. Exactly. They're still my team too, man. I hope I'm saying your name right, but George says Mat Ishbia is the GOAT. I agree, man. I'm a big Mat Ishbia stan. I don't care what anybody says, dude. Brian says, we don't even have a name for our arena. We don't have an identity for our team. Our only hope. I could be wrong, but I think they did rename it to PHX or Phoenix Arena. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they might have done that, unless I read something wrong. I don't know. I think Matt has been pushing our front office since he's got there, which is great, says Mo Dizzle. You know what? Sometimes players and people and staff need to be pushed. It happens. Saul says, I know you turned this down last pod, Geek. Thank you for actually listening, Saul. I appreciate you. But I would love to see CP3 for coach if he retires. Don't know Quinn, but that's intriguing. Chris Quinn is intriguing, you guys. He really is. I'm somebody who, if I had a vote or a say, which I don't, I would vote for Chris Quinn. But guys, Chris Paul plays for the Spurs. Like, he might come back next year and play, or he might go to some other team. He's still in the NBA, you guys, unless he just surprises us all and says, yeah, I'm done, I'm quitting. But even then, is he going to want to come and coach the Suns? Probably not. Unless like Devin Booker and Mat Ishbia can like convince him. I give that a 2% chance of happening. I give that a 2% chance that Chris Paul will coach our team. All right, you guys. I think that's pretty much it. Great show, great podcast. We will do many more of these in the future. If you see like an upload that is like a little bit different, just know it's just me sort of expanding a little bit. It's me like trying to get you guys different content. It's me trying to, first off, keep up with the uploads. And two, it's just me trying just to give you guys the best content that I can. That's something that I strive to do every day. I try my best to bring you guys the best Phoenix Suns content I can. But like, I do have a life. I do have a job. I have family, friends. I don't have like the free time or like the resources that a lot of these other Suns pods do. And I'm not trying to sound like bitter or anything. I'm just letting you guys know the facts that I am when I say I'm a one-man show, I mean it. I am a one-man show. So get ready for weekly shows, maybe sometimes 2 shows a week, if not more. Get ready for videos, YouTube shorts. It's going to be a long but fun off season, and I will do my absolute best for you guys. I love you guys. God bless you guys. Stay safe out there. Be kind to people. Love people. Spread positivity and joy. And even though times are very rough, even though a lot of Suns fans have checked out, please believe in the Phoenix Suns. Please don't lose your Suns fandom. I love you guys. I'll read one more comment before we get out of here. Red Arrow says, have a great weekend, bro. You all have a great weekend. For all you fellow believers out there, have a great Easter weekend. And if you don't celebrate Easter, just enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your life. I love you guys. Peace out. God bless. Win or lose, Phoenix Suns for life. I trust you, Mat Ishbia. I love the Phoenix Suns. Win or lose, Suns for life. Peace. Let me try that again. Win or lose, Suns for life. Peace out. God bless. And go Suns. Thank you, Saul. Appreciate you.